I have witnessed children being reconciled back unto Christ. I have witnessed men being snatched from hell and Jezebel back into the arms of Dunamis women under Devetta's auspices. I have witnessed so many women being transformed in their minds and just their thought processes on the power that's within them. It's so much to be said. So I can't wait for you to experience the I am a Dunamis woman. I can't wait for you to experience the story that you're about to hear. I can't wait for you to experience what God is doing in this earth through this particular woman from the south side of Chicago. Who would have ever thought? Not me, not so many other people, but God knew. And one thing about the I am a Dunamis woman and what Devetta is doing is, and she's going to say this and you're going to hear this, is that no one is going to change her mind about what God said. If you don't learn anything else about what you're about to experience, it's not letting anyone change your mind on who you are, who God says you are, and what it is that you're supposed to do for the kingdom of God.
I was born October 10th, 1963. At Providence Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. I grew up in the Chatham area, actually 9318 South Prairie Avenue, I'll never forget, is the home that I was initially raised in with my mother, a drill sergeant. She was raising 6 children, me being the 5th one. Very structured home, disciplined home. We didn't get away with anything. A home that was filled with obedience, and if you wasn't obedient, you was going to get knocked out. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my siblings above me.
My mother was a strict disciplinarian. She didn't take anything from us, and we had to toe the line. Or we were going to pay the consequences for it. But she was a strong, praying woman, a powerful woman, and I appreciate her for that. And I think both Dee and I got a lot from her. I think we have some of the characteristics of our mother.
My mother was one of those women. You know, we never left the house when you wasn't together. Oh, that wasn't going to happen. Going to the grocery store, you're going to have your hair together. You know, going out the house, you're going to have some clean drawers and some clean socks. You never know what's going to happen. My mother always taught us you're going to be prepared. But she didn't, you know, coddle us. I wasn't one that was coddled. I was very, very one in our household, do as I say, and that's it, and not as I do. And you better make sure you handle your business. So I was around women, you know, even my grandmother, you know, seeing those older seasoned women, praying, singing, worshiping, serving, definitely respected the preacher, the pastor. That's a lot that shaped my life. That's a lot that shaped my life, yeah.
We did go to church. We had to be there. If you could go out on Saturday night, you had to get up and go to church on Sunday morning. And there was no question. And we did walk to church. And we were in the choir. We worshiped together. She has always been a prayer warrior. And we got a lot of that from our mother and also our grandmother.
My mother was very prevalent. But my father was not in the home. And I didn't really know too much about him because he was in my life, but he wasn't in the home. But I did learn that that was the home that he did live in and provided for my mother as well as us. Me being his first child and only child. I was a kid very withdrawn. In a home with older siblings, I've always felt alone. I remember sitting on that step in front of the house, probably 3-4 years old, looking at the sky, looking at the clouds, asking God, why me? Why me? I did not know what the why me meant. I did not know, but I felt so alone. I felt like I was in the midst of people, but I wasn't in the midst of people. I wasn't physically abused. I wasn't sexually abused. I just always felt emotionally alone and abandoned. I've always felt kind of like misunderstood, but I wasn't one to force myself. I wasn't one to make myself known, make myself be heard. I just took things in stride, as a young kid, and I probably still do that today.
But I remember her coming home, the little bouncy little girl. She had this little pigtail top thing in her hair. My mother was worried about her hair not growing in and everything, but she was the light of the family. I was the only man in the house for a while, and I was kind of her protector. I kind of helped raise her. And then when all my friends was around, we were like the protector of the girls. Nobody would come and mess with them because they knew we were all there. And I, in a sense, I felt like I kind of raised her by me being the only man in the house after her father left.
I didn't really have a relationship with him initially. Took a long time before we started that process. I heard that there were a lot of dissension, a lot of turmoil, a lot of things that happened between him and my mother that I became a victim of, that inhibited me from having a relationship that I longed and desired for. But I was always told, if you need anything, call your father. You need this, call your daddy. You need that, call your daddy. Anytime I did call him, he was there. I can honestly say. He was there, took me shopping, had no boundaries as far as whatever I needed, he would get. I wasn't one to take advantage of that. I wasn't one to be greedy. I've always been a quiet person, especially as a child, but did not really know how to engage with him because he was not there. So it kind of felt a little strange. But whatever he said, I did it. Whatever I wanted, he provided. And that's basically how our relationship was developed for a long time.
I was just remembering him, how he treated my mother, which was not a good sight in my eyes. I think he was a good, hard-working man, but the way he treated my mother, I didn't never necessarily agree with.
From my recollection, I was a lot like my father in her eyes. She didn't say it derogatively, but she would say, "You just like your daddy." And I think because there was some distaste still with them, that kind of had a negative connotation. But it didn't stifle me. I think I kind of took it as an honor. Yeah, I took it as an honor. Yeah. I took it as an honor because I really didn't know him. And for someone to say that to me, especially her, it had to be something about him. I know that he wanted a son. His name was David. Mine is Davetta. He got a daughter instead. So I was named after him. And I just believe that was God's intent. So for her to see me, I don't think she really saw me. For her to know me, I don't think she really knew me. But it was okay, because I've always been a headstrong person. I've always been driven. I've always been in my own world. I was named after David because he wanted a son, which is why I am literally called Dave Etta. It still takes on the same meaning of the name David, which is beloved, warrior, hunter. That's really what it means, and that's who I embrace as I am, particularly as a woman. So I've been working since I was 14 years old. If I want something, I work for it. If I want something, I go after it. I've always had the ability to manage money. I know, not that I know, that's a gift that I got from my father. I learned that along after, growing up. But my siblings would always come to me and say, "Hey, Bae," that was my nickname in the house, "Bae, you gotta give me $5, you got this." And I used to have this, it was like a piano vase And you could open it up and money, I would put my money in there, and I would have my brother's baseball, and I would sit it on top. And that was where I kept my stash, you know. And they didn't know where my stash was, but anything that they needed, they came to Bay. And I was the youngest, you know. So I've always had the ability to know how to save, preserve, manage, keep. And to this day, I'm still like that.
She was a hoarder of money. And she used to hide her money. We had a little curio that she would sit on the table. She would hide her money in the curio, but then she would ask me and my sister for money, knowing full well she had money, but she wanted to keep her money and use our money. And that story stuck with me forever.
My mother wasn't one who gave us a whole lot. She was struggling herself, and I really commend her because she took care of 6 children as a single parent and worked at Spiegel's and go out there and do what she had to do to take care of us, even when the gas was off, sitting in the cold house, you know, having the hot plate on the floor, having the blanket, you know, over the kitchen so we can get some little heat, having to boil water just to take a little warm bath, a little bit to hit the bottom of your behind. But I saw her fight to survive. And with that, we were in the fight with her to survive. So I just deem all of that is what made me today a strong woman. Not to say that I'm a strong Black woman with a badge of honor, but I just don't let anything stop me. You know, I think I took her struggles and I made them my warfare.
She is who she is because of her mother.
I wouldn't be literally nowhere near who I am if it wasn't for me being under her auspices, being born her daughter. I really believe God brings us through the womb of who He wants us to come through for His will and His purpose. Not understanding that when I was young, but now understanding it now that I'm older, I am so grateful that I was born through the womb of Lena May.